reader. Today's book is The Other Family by Wendy, Corsi, Staub. In this book, we meet Nora and her husband Keith. They recently moved to a Brooklyn neighborhood from California with their two teenagers, Stacy and Piper. Shortly after she moves to the neighborhood, she was walking the dog to the park and she met Heather. And Heather comes up and talks to her, and she's real chatty. And it's almost as if her life, I guess her family, is echoing hers or similar to hers because she has two teenagers and she was saying that she has two as well. It turns out the kids are a similar age. Nora has two girls, and Heather and her wife, Joel, has a boy and a girl. And then they have a dog, and they're both from California. So it was just weird, and it just seemed kind of creepy because it's like everything she said is like, me too, me too, me too. And I was like, okay, this lady is creepy. But anyway, they struck up a conversation, and then they later decide to meet the family, and get together and have dinner. Now, they later went to Heather and Jules' house for dinner, and they met their children. They have a son, his name is Lennox, and he was just kind of ornery, a bit rude, but ultimately, I guess he kind of simmered down a little bit. And later, we find that he and Stacy, kind of got into some kind of relationship in a sense. And, mind you, she's a teenager, but Lennox was just so bossy, and a lot of things that happened, it was just him telling her, and she's like thinking in the back of my head, like, I don't know, but maybe this is what it's supposed to be, but he was just so controlling. Like when, he decided that they were going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, he just was just talking and saying, oh, because you're my girlfriend now, but he never really asked her, and she never really agreed. So a lot of this is just poor teenagers. I just feel for her because you don't really know any different. And if you don't really know anything different, you can't really do anything different. But anyway, we'll get into that a little bit later. So Lennox, he seemed to have deliberately mentioned that they're living in a house where some people were killed. And it seemed like the family didn't know about this. And so when he blurted this out, of course, the kids were like up in arms and were like, how dare you guys not tell us? Did you not know? But then Nora was saying that she didn't know. And, of course, the realtors are supposed to disclose this type of information. But funnily enough, Nora didn't seem too outraged by the fact that there were murders that had been committed in the house that they were living in. So, of course, there was some excuse that the agent didn't disclose it and they didn't know, or they're not, I guess in New York, they're not required to say, to disclose that or something of that nature. But that argument quickly dissipated, and she kind of assured the girls that this happened a long time ago and nothing's going to happen in the house. But that was a little suspicious because I know I would be outraged and I wouldn't be pacified that easily if I was living in a house where people were murdered. But that was kind of weird, and I'm like, something's funny here. So now there was a guy who was watching the house, and Stacy had noticed him too on I think it was the first night or day after that a guy was sitting across the street watching the house. And so the family that was murdered in the house, there's a husband and wife, and there's a little girl. Her name was Anna. And, later in conversation with the couple down the street, they were saying that how they kept to themselves and how the girl was weird. But this guy, Jacob, was the book went into his life and his interactions with Anna. And so he was thinking that Stacy was Anna, but then he was thinking to himself, like, there's no way it could be Anna because Anna was killed. But then at the same time, it is Anna. She's a person. I'm seeing her. She looks real. Am I losing my mind? But, so in this sense, I was like, okay, is this dude crazy or what? Because there's no way that Stacy could be Anna because this had happened years and years ago, probably over 20 years ago. And this is a teenager, so clearly it can't be the same person. But anyway, he kept watching the house. And so the author went into the story and the backstory of his history with Anna as we went through the book. Now, we later find out that in this house that they're living in, Nora has some history with this house as well, where she used to live in the area when she was younger, and of course her husband doesn't know this. And all the happenings in the history of the house, she's well aware of it, but she hasn't said anything to anyone. Now, the way the book developed, I was completely shocked at the end because I didn't see a lot of what had happened coming, but we find that Nora was tied into the murders that happened at the house. So I'm not gonna give too much away on that, but I was kind of floored, like, wow, really? So the author did a really good job of not disclosing a whole lot before, the end of the book, and developed really nicely. Definitely kept your interest for sure during the book, as far as, wanting to know how everybody's life tied together and why is she back at this house, especially since she seemed to have known of the history of the house, and how is she connected to the house. So anyway, definitely a good read, 4 stars for sure. If you have read or listened to this book, let me know your thoughts. Until next time.